Okay, hey guys, so in this video we're talking about 6 through 9. So let's start off with number 6. Okay, so we want to find the rational roots. So a couple ways we can do this, okay? I'm hoping that you guys can see that we can factor this, but I also want to divide just to help you in case you can't divide. So what I would do is I would take, okay, I would take my P over Q. So this is P, this is Q. And I'm going to take factors of P, which are plus or minus 1 and plus or minus 11. Okay. And then put them over Q, but Q is just 1, so I don't need to do that. So it's basically already P over Q. So let's divide. Remember, we're looking for rational roots. Rational roots are they're just integers and fractions, okay? So let's try 1. So this is 1, this is negative 11, this is negative 11, this is 1. You bring down this one, 1 times 1 is 1, you get negative 10, you get negative 10, you get negative 11, you get negative 11. Hey, cool, 1 works, so I know x equals 1, okay? Then you have x squared minus 10x minus 11, and that equals 0. So from there, we can, now that it's the quadratic, let's try to factor it. So factors of negative 11 that add up to negative 10. Well, that would be negative 11 and 1, right? Yeah. So this would be x minus 11, x plus 1. So x is going to equal 11, x is going to equal negative 1. So those are all our answers. And we could have, from up here, we could have factored by grouping that. And taking out an x squared, you've got an x minus 11. Taking out a negative 1, x minus 11. So then you would have gotten x squared minus 1, x minus 11. That equals 0. So from there, you can set those equal to 0, and you would have gotten these answers, okay? But sometimes you can't factor by grouping, so I wanted to show you, just to review how to divide. Okay, let's try number 7. So, number 7, it's 3 terms. There is a greatest common factor, so we could factor that out, but I want to just go over dividing, okay? So I'm going to have a 1, a negative 4. Actually, I lied. I can't. We have to take out the greatest common factor because there's no constant. We need a constant. So x squared minus 4x minus 5 equals 0. From there, we need a factor. Okay, so this would be x minus 5, x plus 1. And then you bring down the x with it. So I quickly did in my head negative 5 and negative 4, which would be negative 5 plus 1, or times 1, and negative 5 plus 1. So then this would be x equals 0, x equals 5, and x equals negative 1. Remember, I set this x equal to 0 as well. Okay, number 8. So I want to work in division. Okay, so I'm going to divide. So this is P, this is Q. So, for P would be, the factors of P would be plus or minus 1, plus or minus 5, plus or minus 9, plus or minus 45. Again, Q is just 1, so that's just going to be all over 1. Just giving us more space. So let's let's pick one of these and divide them out. Why don't we try, this is number 8. Why don't we try 5? So I have 1, 5, negative 6, negative 30, 9, and 45. Bring down the 1, you get a 5, you get a 10, you get a 50, you get a 44. 5 times 44 is 220. And then you add that to negative 30, you get 190. Take that times 5, I get 950. There's no way I'm going to get 45 right here. Okay? So 5 doesn't work. So let's try a -5. You bring down the 1, you get a -5, you get a 0. You get a 0, you get a -6, you get a 30. You get a 0, you get a -5. No, you get a 0. You get a 0, you get a 9, and then you get a -45. Bam, no remainder. So x equals -5. Then with my new polynomial, sorry guys, I forgot the word, x to the 4th, this is x cubed, so minus x6 squared, this is x, plus 9, and this all equals 0, okay? You can continue to divide if for rational roots, but again, I'm hoping you realize we can factor it once it's in this form. So I would highly recommend factoring it. So factors of 9 that add up to -6 are -3 and -3. So then I'm going to do x squared minus 3, x squared plus, nope, minus 3. There we go. Okay. And again, this all equals 0, so we're going to set each one equal to 0. I'm hoping at this point you can see what's going to happen, right? 3 is added over, square root, so x equals plus or minus 3, and then the same thing here. It's literally the same thing. So this is x equals plus or minus 3 with a multiplicity of 2, and then don't forget our x equals -5. And those are our answers for number 8. Okay, so last but not least, number 9. So we have x cubed minus 2x squared plus 12x plus 40. This one we can't factor by grouping, so we have to divide. So we want p over q. So p is going to be plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4, 5, 8, and then we finish it off with 10. That was 20, and then that was 40. So those are all the factors of 40. And it's over q, which is just 1, so they're all the same. Okay. So again, I'm kind of guessing checking, right? I can look at the coefficients and be like, they're all even. Let's try an even number. Why don't we try 4? So we have 1, -2, 12, 40. You bring down the 1, you get a 4, you get a 2, you get an 8, you get a 20, and I'm not going to get 40, right? I'm going to get an 80 right there. So 4 doesn't work. Let's try -4. Bring down the 1, you get a -4. You get a -6. You get a 24. You get a 36. And nope, I'm not going to get a 40. So 4 plus or minus 4 is out. Okay. Well, I still like the idea that they're all even. So why don't we try a 2? You bring down the 1. You get a 2. You get a 0. You get a 2. You get a 14, and I'm not going to get 40. So positive 2 doesn't work, but why don't we try -2? Okay. So we bring that on that 1, we get a -2, we get a -4, we get a -8. Okay. No, we get positive 8. Sorry. I knew that was wrong. Positive 8. And we get a 20, and then we get a -40, and oh, hey, our remainder is 0. So then this is x squared minus 4x plus 20. Okay? So factors of 20 that add up to -4. So 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. There aren't any, right? I'm not going to get -4 out of any of those. So this is when I have to use the quadratic formula. X equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So this is a, this is b, and this is c. So it's going to be x equals -b, so positive 4, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times 1, 2a. Okay? So in your calculator, find the discriminant, which is what I highlighted. So negative 4 squared minus 4 minus 1 minus 20, or times 20, I mean. And we get 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 64 over 2. And then this becomes 4 plus or minus 8i over 2. And then you got a splitsville, so 4 over 2 plus or minus 8i over 2. Sorry, I should put equal signs so you know where I'm going. And then this equals 2 plus or minus 4i. Okay, so x equals 2 plus or minus 4i. X equals negative 2. Those are your answers. Okay, bye guys.